Yes.
All right, well, we want to welcome you to our session on creating a thriving WolfPack wellness engagement and recognition strategies on a budget. I'm Kelly Vance. I'm the Wellness, Childcare, and Perks Coordinator in University Human Resources, and I am so excited to be here today. As Angela and I were preparing for the conference, we were talking about what should we do? Should we share like a fun fact about ourselves? And so we decided that might be kind of fun, so we're going to share some fun facts about you. So one fun fact, we're actually going to share two today. One fun fact to start out with is that I used to be terribly afraid of public speaking. Terribly. Can you imagine that? I used to get red-faced, sweaty, scared. So I just want you to know that if public speaking is a fear for you, you can overcome it. I believe in you. And then the second fun fact about me is I was a competitive gymnast as a child, in middle school and high school, and I still love to tumble when I get a chance. So
You're like, I don't need that.
not today, not today, not today. I'm going to pass it off to Angela.
Okay, I'm Angela Nicholson, and I am with the Onboarding Center in University Human Resources. I actually had to ask my husband and daughter for a fun fact because when I try to think of myself, I don't know, but they reminded me that I was a part of an adult vlogging group for several years, and in fact was part of a performance team with the group, and we performed at the state fair, and I was super excited about that. That's my fun fact.
Thank you for sharing that, Angela. All right, we're going to jump in. So our purpose for today's presentation is really to focus on building a thriving WolfPack through intentional care, connection, and creativity. We're going to explore cost-effective strategies that will empower all of us to foster wellness, engagement, and recognition in our workplace. We want to create a space where every member can grow, contribute, and succeed. Together, we'll look at how small actions can have a big impact on how we can all help lighten the load and lift each other up. I'm going to pass it over to Angela. She's going to start our first section of our presentation today.
Great. So what can you expect today? For each of the strategies that we're going to talk about, we're going to go over the what, the why, and the workplace. So we're going to define the term, we're going to determine the impact, and we're going to discuss that strategy. I love alliteration because it's just fun. What else to expect? We are going to give you tangible examples that you can take back with you today and start implementing. We are going to give you resources. How do you remember all of this? You can't. None of us can. So we're going to give you resources that you can go and check in on. We'll update them throughout the year as we come up with new stuff as well. So it'll be evolving. And of course, we're going to have some fun. That's what this is all about. So, engagement is going to be our first topic, and there might be a little something in it for you. If you can go ahead and shout out, what are some things that pop into your mind when you hear engagement? What was that one?
Recognition.
Oh, nice. What else?
Saying thanks.
You got it. One more.
Engagement. Creativity. I love that one.
Kelly's got that one. Being together. Yes. All of these are great, and all things that when you hear engagement, you think about it, all of those coming together. So let's look at what engagement looks like in industry. The what? So Gallup defines, and it's a definition, so I'm going to read it. Gallup defines employee engagement as the involvement and enthusiasm. So that is a key part there of employees in their work. Engaged employees are not just going through the motions. That's important. Why is engagement important? Because highly engaged employees are emotionally connected and committed not only to the organizational goals, but to colleague success and support. So you're, again, not just going through the motions, you're invested in what's happening in the workplace and who you're doing that work with. So what does this look like in the workplace? Well, engagement is a performance strategy. So it's not just a word that we throw around. Like I got lost there. So when leadership has a pulse on their employee engagement, they can determine how deeply employees are invested in their work or not, right? We've got both sides of the spectrum there. So this is kind of a crazy statistic to me, but O.C. Tanner has found that 1/3 of employees are just surviving at work. That is a sad statistic, right? They're just going through the motions. They are not engaged. So institutions are really shifting their concept of total rewards from tangible rewards to emotional rewards. And we have already heard that several times today. Not only did our Associate Vice Chancellor, Tim Danielson, talk about it, but our Chancellor, Kevin Howell, talked about that. So we see it happening here at NC State, not just in institutions across the country and in the globe. So institutions are trying to identify specific ways to help employees thrive. That's also a word we've heard a lot today. I love the consistency of these new thought processes in the workplace that align with the culture and their industry. They want it to be specific and relatable. So they're trending towards care, right? We care about our employees and we want them to know it. So moments that matter, what are these and why are they important? So these are touch points in an employee's journey that make that impact on their perception of the organization. It directly impacts their engagement. Do they feel connected? These moments can be positive or negative, but both are equally impactful. And logically, the more positive the moments, or more positive moments that occur, the more engaged the employee, and the opposite on the other side. These moments can be created through formal events like onboarding or performance management. Are employees being welcomed on their first day? Are they getting what they need to be successful early on? Are they getting feedback for how they're doing their work? Or are they just having to fumble their way through and guess? This is what they want me to do? I don't know, because nobody's told them. They could be doing it wrong for 6 months and never know, because they're not getting that feedback. So it's really important. It can also be personal support during life events. I happen to be very fortunate and have had incredible teams here at NC State. So some examples that have meant a lot to me. My daughter is in a competitive theater troupe, and as part of their practice going into competition, they came and performed at the Gregg Museum. They're coming again in a few weeks. And my team came out and watched. And that meant a lot to me because that's obviously a very personal event. Or when you find out your spouse has been declared no evidence of disease, you come in and your cube is decorated.
That's right.
And we all celebrate together. So those are the touch points that really mean something to an employee, that someone cares enough to be invested not only in what they're doing at work, but in their life. So again, logically, the more positive those events, the more engaged an employee is. And it also is not surprising that the moments of thoughtfulness are the ones that make the biggest impact. So, benefits of an engaged team, all things that we would expect: higher accountability, higher productivity, higher innovation. And what jumps out to me about these is the innovation. Engaged employees are going to be thinking, how can we do this different? How can we do this better? They're not just doing what they're told. They're taking it to the next level. So that is important. How do we measure that? Well, whenever you hear about, well, how are people feeling about something, what's one of the first words that pops in your mind? Starts with an S. Surveys. Surveys, of course, are one way to measure engagement, but there's lots of other ways. There's behavior metrics, there's observation, there's data. So what does this look like when rubber hits the road? We'll look at turnover and retention rates. Are employees leaving in their first 6 months? Those are not engaged employees. They do not feel connected to that organization. Are employees staying for 5 years or more? Something is going right there. Employees are happy and they want to be there. Attendance and punctuality. Do you have that employee that calls in sick every week? Do you have that employee that starts showing up 5 minutes late and it evolves into 10 minutes late? So on. That person does not want to be there. They are not engaged. So you got to figure out where that gap is, what has happened. Internal communications and collaboration. Do you have to tell your employees, hey, go ask what your team thinks about this? My team probably wishes I wasn't so engaged with them because they all helped with this presentation, so thank you to my team. I was like, what do you think about this? How do you think this will sound? Well, what do you think about how this looks? I just go to them because I trust them and I know that they're going to be there for me. So that's what an engaged team looks like. Do you have people hanging out in the break room and you hear laughter around the office? Or is it like a library and you see people walking around hiding under tables when they see somebody coming? All right, so we have talked about engagement, but let's engage with each other. So on your tables, you should have some Soho cups. This was important. And an instruction sheet under those. You are going to work together as a team. In your cup, you should have a rubber band with a bunch of ribbons on it. Each person is going to take one ribbon. There's a knot at the end that you're going to hold. You work together to open that rubber band. You have to flip your solo cup upside down. And then you're going to stretch the rubber band, put it over the top of the solo cup, and stack it onto the other one. So separate your solo cups. It works best if you put them in the middle. It also works to stand up. You might want to stand up, that helps. You're going to stack the cups. So 2 tries. This table's got it. Whoever stacks all 3 first. engagement. In my opinion, these are the top 3 engagement opportunities: food, Zoom, and contests. This is what brings people together. Everybody loves food. It does not have to be provided, so don't think about a monetary piece with this. It can be a potluck. Everybody bring a shareable snack. We just did a fall bake-off in UHR. We all enjoyed that. Very appreciative of our bakers. Zoom, that brings in everybody no matter what their schedule. A lot of us have hybrid schedules, so one day in the week you got half the office in, half the office at home, but Zoom is an opportunity to all be together. So it's super flexible. And contests, again, everybody loves contests. With that fall bake-off, we already have trash talk going into next year to get their signature on the golden whisk. So it can really build that team camaraderie. ShipRup, we had 6 total winners, but the golden whisk winner was ShipRup. I called it the cardamom cake, but I think it was a something tea cake. Can't remember. We'll find ShipRup again, because I can't remember. Sorry, I wasn't prepared for that. Okay, those examples that we talked about. Here is an entire year of in-person activities that you can do with your team. All of these have been done and vetted, so we know they work. One of the most popular in January, we do a s'more fun in the new year. We get together, we make s'mores, we do a craft. We've brought in baby pictures to guess who's who. That's a lot of fun. Low-hanging fruit. In May, Employee Appreciation Week. You don't even have to plan anything. Other people have planned it for you. But encourage your teams to go and participate in these activities. It really does build a lot of team camaraderie. In November, we do Friendsgiving, one of the most popular events of the year as well. Potluck. So everybody brings their favorite dish. We spend some good time fellowshipping, and it is definitely looked forward to every year. So a whole year of things you can do.
And you will get a copy of the slides, so don't worry if you didn't take those.
Zoom, lots of Zoom opportunities. The first 4 listed are actually live links to click and play opportunities. You don't even have to do anything. Everything's prepared for you. The rest, pretty simple. Mr. Rogers calls I like to talk about because that's an opportunity to jump on a Zoom, go into random breakout rooms, and talk to people that aren't a part of your day-to-day team, but part of your larger team. Have some conversation starters, get to know your neighbor, right? So lots of fun stuff there. And then resources, where you have a resource drive that Kelly's going to talk about more later. You can form an activities team, a group that volunteers to intentionally plan these events. You can contact the onboarding center. We can come out to your staff meeting or your retreat and we lead team building activities, or we can jump on through Zoom. Volunteer in the community. Volunteer with Habitat for Humanity as a team, or Feed the Pack Pantry as a team. Do a 5K for a cause. We talked about that during HR Exchange. We have one every year that we participate in. And don't be afraid to fundraise in your department to help support these events. You can do all that stuff with that.
All right. Now we're going to switch gears and talk a little bit about wellness. So we're going to start off again with what pops into your mind when you hear the word wellness. What pops into your mind? Exercise, okay?
Exercise.
What else? Mental health, right here. Rhonda, what did you say? Self-care, yes. Sleep, yes.
Sleep
is one of my favorites. Oh, quiet room, yes, perfect. Quiet room for meditation, relaxation, visualization. Healthy habits, awesome. You guys touched on a lot of great ones. All right, so just like Angela started, we're going to talk about the what, the why, and the WolfPack. So WolfPack wellness. So we're talking about wellness. We already kind of have an established a strategic plan for wellness, and so it's going to be a little bit different than talking about engagement. So WolfPack Wellness and HR Wellness together foster a thriving NC State community by supporting the holistic well-being of students, faculty, and staff. And the why, we have this shared purpose that allows us to create a thriving university community. We want every individual to thrive, that's students, faculty, and staff, and we want you to thrive both personally and professionally. And then the workplace at NC State, WolfPack Wellness and HR Wellness exists to cultivate this culture of care, right? And connection and resilience to helping build community. Our Wellness Champions is one example of that, right? We really focus on connecting with our champions, and then they connect with more teams individually. So on the screen here, you'll have the 2014-2015 wellness strategy developed by a number of key stakeholders across the university. And so they focused on building a thriving pack, which takes each of us in our roles that we have to cultivate the people, places, and culture at NC State. And this allows us to explore those 6 elements of wellness to live a full, vibrant life, both here on campus and beyond the workplace. And while we all have different ways of talking about wellness, as you saw, everyone shared a different perspective on what they thought wellness was about, whether it was sleep, exercise, right? Lots of different ideas there. We want to share this established common language on how we talk about wellness here at NC State. So based on Gallup's Book of Wellbeing, NC State defines wellness as the connected and interactive combination of 6 elements of wellness that foster a balanced and holistic life. And these elements are purpose, physical, financial, emotional, social, and community. These are all facets of wellness. All right, we're going to look at the power of small changes. The power of small changes really begins with everyone in this room. Together, we can amplify the resources and turn simple actions into a movement, right, that strengthens the well-being of all of us. And then when we rely on extreme measures, so taking extreme measures to make change, right, this often translates into unrealistic expectations. And I'm applying this to wellness, not necessarily change in work, right? That often leads to disappointment, frustration, and possibly burnout. Small changes help cultivate healthy habits and equip us with the ability to become more resilient through intentional behaviors that keep us grounded. All right, so has anyone heard of Blue Zones or watched Blue Zones on Netflix? Yes. Anyone else watch Blue Zones? No? Okay, well I hope you go home and watch it after I talk about it a little bit. So Blue Zones is a documentary on Netflix. Oops. Okay. And Blue Zones explores communities around the world, and it focuses on communities with the highest number of people living to 100 years or older. And what they learned from these communities is that they didn't follow extreme dieting. They didn't follow really intense exercise regimens. And they also didn't, have expensive wellness programs or things like that. So what they found in these communities is that these people followed simple, consistent changes throughout their lifetime, right? And these consistent small changes, along with gardening, moving every day, shopping in their local markets for fresh, low-processed foods, having a strong community, a purpose in their community. That's what really helped them, from the research that they did, live to 100 years and older. So it's those small changes that they made. All right, we're going to talk about moments that matter. stress, transitions, maybe they're navigating a personal challenge, and they're coming to you with this information. And when you provide key wellness resources during these moments, it can foster trust, boost morale, and support for their overall well-being. And I want to just provide a quick reminder here. When you are sharing these resources, you want to be sure that you give them the reassurance that, hey, you don't have to take this right now, but if you find that you really do want this information, come back and see me later. I'll be here to help you when needed, right? You don't want to force something on someone. That's kind of what I'm getting at here. So building trust with others. We heard about this earlier from Dr. Flynn, right? It's when you believe that the person you're seeking support in will provide that valuable guidance, right? They have your best interest in mind. And I love this quote by Ken Blanchard and Randy Conley from the book Simple Truths About Leadership. People don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. So show them that you care will help you build that relationship and have trust. And then listen. This is one of my favorites. So I think when we think about listening, we want to focus on turning down that inner chatter. Have you ever had a conversation with someone and you're not really sure if they're thinking about something else or they're really listening to you, right? They kind of tune out a little bit, right? So when you're listening to a colleague, you really want to listen with intention, hear what they are saying, so that you can provide the best possible support. Listening with intention opens doors to meaningful support. It's how we connect people to the wellness they truly need. All right, we're going to shift gears a little bit and we're going to talk about micro breaks. So micro breaks are short, intentional pauses throughout your workday to help you reset and recharge. So things like mindful moments are quick pauses to notice your surroundings and check in with your emotions. This can help you boost clarity and calm. It can be for 1 or 2 minutes while you're sitting at your desk, right? It doesn't have to be for a really long time. You can also practice meditation or grounding exercises, which is something we're going to do together today. All right, and then take a quick pause and practice some deep breathing. Deep breathing helps reduce your heart rate, reduces your stress, and we'll have actually what's called a pack pause with diaphragmatic breathing. This is a resource that we're going to provide to you. It's a slideshow. You can just follow right along and take that pause with deep breathing. Take a short walk around the office, right? Maybe a short walk will help re-energize your body, help improve your posture, and reduce that tension that you feel from sitting all day. Stretch break or chair yoga. Has anyone here joined the Flourish Fridays? Yes! All right, my friends are over here. If you haven't joined Flourish Fridays, this is where we take just 15 minutes as a group. No one can see you, but everyone can see me. And we do some stretching and chair yoga and different things like that together. So if you've not heard of Flourish Fridays, make sure you reach out to me and I'll send you the link. Yes? Yes. Perfect. I love that. You have the space. That's wonderful to implement. Put those up, little signage so you know how many laps equals. Yeah. That's a great idea. We're going to send people to walk over there. All right, and then connect with a colleague, right? I love connecting with Angela because every time I connect with Angela, she makes me feel so good and happy and laugh. So connect with a colleague that you know can do that for you. Doodle or color for 2 minutes, creative play. It activates different parts of the brain and it can help you expand that creativeness. Fresh air, get outside and get some fresh air. Increase your oxygen levels, get around the trees, as long as you don't have allergies, right? Mindful of that. And then music moment. Taking a moment to listen to your favorite song. Sometimes I listen to music throughout the day because it helps the day go by in a more fun way. And this kind of ties to one concept called bundling. Who here likes folding laundry? Only a couple people. And that's okay if you like folding laundry. If you don't like folding laundry, try folding it while listening to your favorite music. I'm just saying bundling helps it be more fun. All right, so we're gonna do a grounding exercise. Because we're running a little bit short on time, I'm gonna skip the movement. But what I want you to do is right where you are in your chair, you're gonna close your eyes. Go ahead and close your eyes. Find a comfortable position. Close your eyes. The only person that can see you is me, and this is a judgment-free zone, okay? There is no judging happening here. Close those eyes if you would like to. If you don't want to, you don't have to. And we're gonna take our hands and we're gonna place them on our belly. Now, as you place your hands on your belly, I want you to focus on taking a deep breath in, and as you breathe in, you should feel your belly expand. If you're not feeling your belly expand, try to expand that belly as you take that deep breath in. A lot of times we breathe in our chest, and we want to breathe in our belly. You're going to continue just breathing this way for a couple of moments. And as you're breathing this way, I want you to notice how your feet feel on the floor. Or maybe how you feel supported from your chair. Maybe you start to notice how your clothes feel on your skin. Now, take one more deep breath in, and as you let it out, you're going to open your eyes. And I want you to, in your head, not out loud, 5 things you see. You're going to say them to yourself. 5 things you see. 4 things you hear. 3 things you smell. 2 things you can touch or feel, and then 1 thing you can taste. So I'm going to skip one there. Could be your leftover lunch, by the way. And as you start to do that countdown, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, you're going to come back to the present moment. Just notice how you feel after just a moment of deep breathing and focusing on yourself. Maybe you don't feel any different right at this moment, but try it again when you're having a moment of feeling a little bit stressed. All right, we're going to take a quick look at some resources. I'm going to fly through these so that we can get to the rest of our stuff today. So we have the WolfPack Wellness website. The Browse All resources there, link there allows you to search using certain criteria to find resources that are available to you related to wellness. The NC State University calendar posts all kinds of different activities, and if you've ever gone on there as a employee, it feels a little overwhelming, right? Lots of things for students. You can filter for staff, faculty. You can filter for community. So when you do that filter, it helps you find things that you might be more interested in. And then faculty and staff assistance program, of course, provides lots of resources for employees. We're going to skip our activity with that today. But no, work-life balance resources. So if you're looking for a new car and you want some research done on that, they can help you. If you're looking for a vacation, want help planning that vacation, you can tell them what you're looking for and they can provide you with all of the resources. So keep FAFSA in mind for more than just counseling. HR Wellness website is designed to showcase wellness resources by each element of wellness. When you scroll down our website, you'll see social, community, emotional, lots of resources in each of those categories for employees. And then, of course, we have a WolfPack Wellness newsletter. If you don't get that but are interested in receiving it, it's just once a month, a newsletter with lots of information about upcoming events that you can take advantage of. Excuse me. And then the How You Know newsletter is a main way that we communicate a lot of programs. So make sure you're checking that out as well. The Better You app. This wellness app is designed to support your overall well-being, but also in a college or department, you can, if everyone in your team is maybe using this app, you can set up your own personal challenges, right? So let's say Angela and I want to create a challenge between onboarding and benefits. We can do that through the Better You app, and you earn gift cards along the way. So keep that in mind. You get rewarded in the form of gift cards. All right, just to recap, small changes build momentum and foster a culture of well-being, build trust, listen to each other, and share key wellness resources during moments that matter. Right? We don't want to hoard those Flourish Fridays to ourselves. We want to share. And then create a ripple effect by inviting others to join your micro break, right? If you're going for a walk, hey, you want to come? We have a UHR walking group where we all just reach out, hey, you want to walk? Anyone want to walk at 2 o'clock? Anyone want to walk at 4 o'clock? And then people join as they can, right? There's no pressure, right, to actually participate. It's if you're available, you join us. And then explore all the ways we support a thriving WolfPack. Dive into those resources.
All right. So, recognition. We're going to, 3. Kelly's going to bring them out. What are 3 words? Well, 1 each. That you think of when you hear recognition? Appreciation. Money. If you work for the state. We had money and yes. Oh, recognizing a person how they want to be recognized. That is good. Excellent. So O.C. Tanner defines recognition as the act of acknowledging an employee for their contribution and effort. Notice it doesn't talk about success. That's going to be important. Why is recognition important? Well, research shows that over 1,000% increase in great work in an organization with strong recognition programs. That is huge. Not 100%, not 200%, over 1,000% performance increase. Richard Branson, very successful businessman, has incredible recognition programs established throughout his businesses. And he actually says, take care of your employees and your employees will take care of your business. So he approaches his recognition with that in mind. Some of the things that they do in his companies, handwritten birthday cards. Handwritten notes mean a lot. That takes time and energy for somebody to do that. They track performance, and when there's success or somebody has accomplished something, he will personally call them or send them a letter or email. He does have established peer-to-peer recognition programs. Those are important. And one of the ones that blew me away, he has actually named stars in the sky after employees who have accomplished certain goals in the organization. That's pretty impressive. So that would be cool. What does this look like in the workplace? Well, we talked about engagement being a performance strategy. Recognition is a talent strategy. You are wanting to retain that top talent, and you need to recognize them so they know that they are one of those employees. When employees feel valued and appreciated, overall higher performance in all aspects of work, not just necessarily their assigned duties. So I've come up with a little acrostic for us to help learn some recognition strategies. Fist bump. So fist bump somebody at your table and watch them smile because it's just fun to do. Except Allison, she's not smiling after that. And it's just fun. It makes you feel good. But some strategies: feedback, incentives, spotlight, timely, breaks, uplift, mentor, praise. A lot of these are things that you would automatically think about. But some of them aren't ones that immediately jump into your head. So we're just going to touch base on some of those. Feedback. What's important about feedback? It doesn't always have to be positive to be helpful. Constructive feedback can be just as impactful for an employee, because feedback is letting that employee know that you see them, you recognize them, and you want them to do better. So if you see somebody doing something that maybe isn't the most efficient or the best way that it could be done, now you need to have some discussion about what works, because every individual's a little different, but it lets them know they really want me to succeed. They see me, right? So feedback can have a lot of different benefits without always having to be positive praise. Making sure recognition is timely. Not only does it mean more, but it's like he knew what I was going to be talking about. Tim this morning talked about the release of neurotransmitters in the brain. Giving timely praise, and praise itself releases dopamine. So it makes a connection between the behavior and the outcome for that employee. So if you do that timely, you're going to get better results. Designating somebody as a mentor. So you're not only saying to that person, I love the way that you do your work, and I love it so much, I want others to emulate your performance, right? That's a huge compliment. That is a great way to recognize an employee in the workplace. Lots of others. Those are some of the ones that I thought were really cool. All right, examples you can walk away with. So there's all kinds of things you can do. Say thank you. How many times do we do something and nobody even says thank you, even after they asked you to do it? And you're like, well, I don't know if that was worth it. All right. Say thank you and be specific. What are you saying thank you for? Handwritten notes, we've talked about that. That is just such an easy personal action to take, and it means so much. Announce birthdays and work anniversaries during staff meetings. Again, these are life events that mean something to people, and they want to celebrate with you, or at least know you want to celebrate with them. So easy things that you can do in your teams to build some recognition. Yes? So you could just put all kinds of things on a celebration calendar. Like if you have deadlines for big projects coming up and you meet that deadline, you can then celebrate that. Oh no, that you've reached them. Good clarification. See, what works in my mind doesn't always translate. So that's a great clarification. So, reaching goals. Yep. There are lots of recognition resources already established here at the university, so you don't even have to reinvent the wheel or come up with stuff on your own. UHR has a great recognition toolbox with all kinds of information. Pause and say thanks. Y'all seen that today. It's an on-the-spot peer-to-peer recognition. It takes 30 seconds, and that person gets it instantly, makes their day. It's incredible. Employee Appreciation Week, again, stuff is already planned for you, and you can get in there and participate in all of those things and be recognized for your hard work. It's a great way that the university says thank you for what we do. Now, what you might not realize is a lot of your college and divisions already have internal recognition programs established. College of Ag and Life Sciences, facilities, there's a ton in there, I can't list them all. But check that out if you're not aware, and you can see if your college and division already has some internal recognition programs. So those are really neat. All right, who doesn't want to get recognized? So we're going to recognize each other today. On your table, it's flipped over, but you should have a pretty big stack in the middle of your table. And what you're going to do, you've got a list of superlatives. You're going to take about 3 minutes, maybe 5, but we're going to try to do it in 3. I think y'all can do it. And each person at the table is going to get a superlative. So you worked together for about 45 minutes. You did an engagement activity, and you get to take your superlative home. You There are more superlatives than people at each table, so you're not going to use all of them, but only one per person.
So you're going to work together to determine who gets which one.
Yeah, work together to figure out who earns each one.
Angela is the Sheldon, by the way.
Oh, I was going to say
We have over here, oh, Brandon is the Sunshine Sister. What did you say?
All right, does anybody need more time? Okay, no worries. Don't be doing great. Still got a minute? I love how proud some people look at their award. All right, does anybody need more time? Still need a few more? Okay. We got about 40 seconds.
40 seconds, 40 seconds.
They're in the drive.
We're going to talk about the drive, yeah.
All right, is everybody done? Okay, I don't see any more hands. I'm gonna turn my timer off. Okay, I love the laughter. I love how proud some people looked when they got their superlative. These are just fun, of course. We want to recognize you guys though. So, where are my Sheldons?
Sheldon's all Sheldon, stand up. Let's see the Sheldon.
Stand up. Yes. I too am a Sheldon. My team knows if we talk about a topic too long, I'm going to say something random and sarcastic because my brain is done. We're off for a while, but they're used to it. Where are my Sunshine Sizzlers?
Sunshine Sisters.
Right? Yay! Oh, we love you guys. Thank you for bringing the sunshine. That's not me. I'm bringing the sarcasm. What about our light bulbs? Where are those folks that come up with those crazy awesome ideas? Yeah! We need y'all. I love it. What about our Aka Awesomes? Yeah! Yes, I love it. Way to support your teams. Pump them up. y'all nailed those. That was perfect. What about our jockey? Let's keep it moving, people. Keep it moving. Yes. I love it. Where's our Shakespeare? Keeping those notes. Nice. Yes. Oh, I love it. And last but not least on the sheet, our spotlight. Who speaks up? Take your superlatives back, proudly display them. They are well earned and well deserved. So fun, simple ways to recognize each other for your hard work.
All right, we're going to start to wrap up here today with a call to action. So we're going to look at some quick examples today. Just quick, fast ways you can implement some of the strategies we've talked about today. So let's say your team is working on a new project and everyone seems a bit stressed. Perhaps you work with your team to implement a wellness break or a Wellness Wednesday activity. Maybe it's 15 minutes before your meeting starts. Maybe you bring chocolate to share and have a little chocolate and your favorite beverage break before you get started with your meeting. Perhaps your meeting ends early. Maybe your team decides to take a walk together, right? All of these little things can help with team camaraderie, engagement, wellness, etc. So they all can kind of go hand in hand. And then maybe you're in a huddle. Maybe you share success stories in your huddle, right? Allowing everyone to share if they'd like. We talked about this a little bit earlier. Use those Google Spaces or creating those Google groups to create little networks to have quick conversations with others who have similar interests or interested in walking. Whoops. Bad with the mouse today. And then set SMART goals. We'll dive into this a little bit more later. Create a shared plan to enact your goal, right? Angela talks about creating those resource groups. So who's going to send out the communication? Who's going to put something together, right? Create a shared group that can kind of share that load, right? So it's not all falling on one person. And then these small actions become moments that people really look forward to. They can create connections and a community within your college department division. All right, so SMART goals. When you set goals that are not clear, they're random, you're basically looking for a needle in a haystack or shooting an arrow at a target in the dark, right? You really have no idea what your goal is. So setting SMART goals helps you lay out a clear framework for reaching your goal. You want to write it down, you want to say it out loud so it becomes real, okay? We're going to go through an example here. So be specific. Let's say that your goal is that you want to walk more. Is that specific? No, that's rather vague, right? So maybe your goal, we're going to make it SMART, right? Specific. So you're going to say, I want to walk 2,000 steps more per day than I'm currently walking. I want to complete this over the next month by going for 5 to 10 minute walks 3 times a day. And if I need help, I'm going to look for an accountability buddy. Does that sound like a SMART goal? Yes, it's specific. It's measurable. How am I going to measure it? I'm going to keep track of my 2,000 extra steps per day on my smartwatch, or use a walking map or some other source of knowing that I'm getting those extra steps. Pedometer, right? And then make it attainable, right? Is it attainable for me? If I can't do this, do I need to make an adjustment, right? It should feel like it's something that I can accomplish. And then is it realistic? Is it worthwhile to me? Does it reflect something of value to me? Yes, right? It reflects what I'm able to accomplish. And then is it time bound? Yes, I'm giving myself that 2 months, right, to reach that goal. So I'm being very intentional about laying out the framework for that. And then last but not least, we're going to talk about this quick model. So 3 steps here. Model and encourage healthy habits by taking short breaks, prioritizing mental well-being, and lead by example to create this culture of wellness engagement and recognition. Share and use campus resources, right? We've got tons of resources for you. We're going to talk about that here in a second. And then make it part of your day, right? Integrating it into meetings or integrating it into your routine, connecting with others, just small moments, right? Little small moments that matter. And then where can you find all of these resources? Angela and I put together this wellness engagement and recognition drive. And if you would like access to that drive, to access your Sheldon, your Aka Awesome, and then lots of other resources we put in that drive. I talked about wellness breaks. There's some fun meeting break activities in there that involve, do you remember when you were a kid and you would look at, turn over all the cards and there'd be all these images and then you have to turn them over, mix them up and find the images? So there's some fun games like that and some slides that you can utilize. Again, all kinds of different resources. Once you get the access to the slides, if you want to be a part of this drive, just sign up and we'll give you access. And we want to thank you for being here and championing a thriving WolfPack. Your dedication to fostering a culture of care, balance, and belonging really reflects the very best in NC State. And we are so thankful that we could present to you all today.